Peace and blessings, melanated. As I told you earlier, today has been a day of ponderance. Yes, it has. And so I was sitting here thinking about all of the racism I've encountered in my life. Just having flashbacks, different things. And how people on here are constantly telling me that it doesn't exist anymore or get over it or whatever. And one particular incident came across my mind. My wife told me one time that there is a kid in the neighborhood who has been expelled from school. And this is the end of the year. He's not going to be allowed to take his end of year exams, his final exams, or none of that. He's just gone. And so I said to myself, well, you can't let that happen. I knew the principal was a bigot, and I knew that the superintendent was prejudiced, but he was a politician, and I figured I could leverage that in my favor. So I loaned the kid a jacket. I think I loaned him a jacket. I know I loaned him a tie and gave him a pair of shoes, and he already had a shirt and pants. And so he got dressed up. I called and got an appointment with the superintendent, and we went down to see him. And the superintendent politely shook our hands, told us to sit down, and the first question out of his mouth asking the young black man, do you always dress like that? And so I asked the young man to step out in the hall, and I told the superintendent, I said, this kid has a whole lot on his plate. I said, I'm sure he's teased about his mother. He's teased about being a homosexual. I said, in this small town mentality, he goes through a lot. He doesn't need you criticizing him, asking him why he dressed like that. I said, he's dressed like that because this is a business meeting that we came to, and look at how you're dressed. And then I said, now can I call him back in? And he just turned red as a beet, and I called him back in. And we discussed the situation, what had happened, and he said, okay, here's what I'm going to do. He can take his he can't go back to school, but he can go and take his final exam, and if he passes them, he graduates. The kid passed him, and he graduated. But why would he ask that question? Do you dress like this every day?